James Fisher, Houston, what would keep the brokers from just saying they have a share of NextBridge hydrocarbons and not really have a share and wait till the dividend comes out and then pay us whatever it is? That's what they're hoping to do with the obligations warehouse. And now, if you pay attention to the anatomy of a short attack, and we can go back to that wonderful 2014 article. Can't spell. Bam. There we go. Back when Seeking Alpha meant something. Everyone, if you've not read this, read this. Boom, boom. Read Anatomy of a Short Attack. It is super duper 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 important, and it lays out exactly how they do this. This is from 2014. So this is almost 9 years ago when this was written. But key points. Editor Money Jar. Thank you, Pete Sweaty Balls. What they do is they find a stock they want to attack, right? They identify like these guys are weak, they're struggling, or maybe they just don't like cut of their jib, and they will borrow the shares and they'll short it because they expect the price to go down, but it doesn't quite go down enough. They want to get the sucker to zero. So what they'll do is they'll start creating fake shares that don't exist and sell those, and then they'll hire people like your Jim Cramers, things like that, and at first they'll hire them to talk the stock up. They're like, hey, Jim Cramer, here's a few $100,000. I want you to talk about how great this stock is. I want you to get the price as high as you can freaking go, right? And then we're going to short the shit out of it to all these dumb retail investors who watch your show. And then once we get enough of those sold, then we're going to just hammer it with naked shorts. And then you're going to talk bad about the stock. You're going to talk about how the CEO is garbage, how the company's not going anywhere, how they're terrible, and you're just going to keep hammering on. So you get articles in Seeking Alpha, you get articles in MarketWatch, you get articles in Motley Fool, in the Wall Street Journal, and they will just hammer to the retail investors how terrible the stock is, and the prices are going down. And then we'll flood the market with all these naked shares and dilute the stock, and it'll drop even further. The retail investors will panic and sell their shares, which causes even more dilution of the market and the price to go down. And then what we do is we take whatever position we have and we force one of our hedge fund little minions onto the board of the company or into a VP position, or get as many of them in there as we can, and then their job is to destroy the company. They'll hire Boston Consulting Group at an exorbitant price to come in and do a rehash of whatever they're supposed to do to change things. And Boston Consulting Group is going to tell them to sell off all their assets that are valuable and rent everything back and to subcontract to people when everything was vertically integrated before. And they will lose so much money, and they'll end up like having storefronts fall apart, and they won't have any cash to fix it up, and they'll be stuck in a debt cycle at this point because the senior VP of logistics is making sure that orders don't get through on time, and they'll sabotage the company from the inside. They'll saddle them with boatloads of debt. They'll overcharge them for terrible consultation from BCG, and then they short it into nothing. The company has to declare bankruptcy, goes Chapter 11, and then goes on the pink sheets, and that's it. They can forget about it forever. So think about this. If they're moving this stock in the obligations warehouse, and there's still the potentiality of a significant dividend for hundreds of millions of shares, billions of shares, who knows how many synthetics there are that can move in this obligations warehouse. If there's the possibility that NextBridge does a sale of the assets for billions to an oil company, and that might mean a payout of tens or hundreds of dollars a share, then that could be 10 or hundreds of billions of dollars in liability in the obligations warehouse that they do in payment in lieu. So what would you do? You would probably go to all the oil companies and make sure that this stuff isn't sold. You will do a short attack in that you will torpedo the ability of this company to realize any wealth on its assets. Therefore, you'll never have to pay out that dividend. Because the PIL, reaching into your pocket, paying on that PIL would just destroy you anyway. So they're fighting for their lives. And step one is to get an obligations warehouse. Step two is probably to just try and destroy the company by torpedoing any deal they could make. Or if they do try to, become a working oil company again and exploit their oil fields, you're going to make sure that all the rigs are tied up and they can't get out there, that there are no tanker trucks, no one can lay pipeline, no one will buy the oil from them. Like, you're going to do your darndest to make sure that they can't succeed during an era when oil prices are absolutely nuts, and they should succeed just fine. So yeah. Okay.